Hi, my name's Greg. These are two of my llamas, two of my experienced llamas. This is Quicksilver, and this is Big Hunk over here, the white one. They're both males, they're both geldings, both very experienced, and two of my best llamas. So today we're going to be talking a little bit about llama behavior and some of the things that you can encounter on the trail, and some general information about llamas. So when my llamas go out, they have a halter on. This is called a halter, and that stays on the whole time. It never comes off. There's a thick closed ring on the halter here. Everything that when you want to keep your llama in your camp or on the trail, everything that gets snapped on has to be on this ring, as opposed to this little flimsy ring. Hope you can see it. For his bell and his ID tag. So he has a bell. He also has an ID tag that has my name and number on it, just in case he decides to go off on his own, which doesn't happen very often, but people can tell me, know where to call. Some of the basic llama behavior is based upon what a llama can and cannot do. Llamas have no real defense other than flight, and the reason they have not much defense is that they're lightweight, so llamas can kick, but they don't kick very hard. It's not something that's going to put a bothersome thing down on the ground. They don't have much of a bite. They have no top incisors, so there's no top teeth in the front, so they can bite you, but again, it just doesn't have much punch to it. Llamas spit. Yes, llamas do spit. It's regurgitated stomach matter. It's green, it's warm, it's green, and it has a nice fragrant little smell to it, but it's not like getting skunked. So it's not going to put anything off. So if anything is really threatening to a llama, their instinct is resistance, i.e. flight. So that's a basic part of the llama personality, and sometimes it manifests itself in different ways that are confusing to humans, but not to the llama. So one or two of them we'll discuss later on. Some of the things that we can see on the trail with llamas. The most common thing is to see large stock, horses and mules. Generally, they're the commercial packers that work the backcountry, though there are a lot of private parties out there also. We always give the right-of-way to large stock. Llamas are not afraid of horses and mules, but sometimes you can have horses and mule that are, maybe they're just a little bit more high-strung, or it's the first time they've seen a llama, or the first time they've smelled a llama, and that can pose a threat to them. So we always give them the right-of-way. We do that by getting off the trail. You want to, if at all possible, you want to go downhill so that you present a lot less of a profile. Occasionally, you just can't get off downhill. There's just too much debris in the way, or it's too steep. You have to go uphill. Well, you do what you have to do. I like to try and get a good 100 feet off the trail, because I never know the stock that I meet. Have they seen llamas 27 times and could care less because they figured out that the llamas aren't going to eat them? Or is it their first encounter? So I always assume it's their first encounter. Llamas can have a little dust up on the trail. They can have a little rodeo. Nobody's really going to get hurt because they're just not as big. They don't kick. Horses and mules, it's not the same. There's especially with commercial packers, many times you'll have one packer. He'll be leading 5, 6, even 7 mules or pack horses. If they have a problem on the trail, it can get out of hand real quick. So we want to make sure that the people with the horses, they see us. If your party is strung out a little bit, you might have somebody walking a couple 100 feet or 100 yards in front, and they meet horses. Make sure and tell them that, hey, down the trail there's some llamas, so that they're prepared for it. I usually try and shout a greeting as soon as I see them, 100, 200 yards off. I raise my hand and go, hey, how you doing? Got llamas, just in case they haven't seen me. so that we can all prepare for the crossing. Um, Plus, it's just a real good PR for sharing the backcountry with the people that have the horses and mules. So um, the other thing that you can encounter on the trail is loose dogs. It depends on where you're going. The national parks, there's no dogs allowed in the backcountry, but the national forest, which is the majority of the backcountry trails that are available, dogs are allowed. Generally, the rule is, to one degree or another, dogs have to be under control, either on a leash or under voice command. Unfortunately, most people, within 100, 200 yards after they get out of the trailhead, they're off leash, and voice commands were never part of that dog's training to begin with. So sometimes you can get dogs that get a little bit of hyper. They're a nice dog back at home in the backyard of San Jose, but now they're running free up in the mountains, and all those instincts are bubbling to the surface. So when we see loose dogs on the trail, especially when the hikers are not there, they've let their dogs kind of wander up the trail, and now they're maybe 100, 200 feet, maybe 100, 200 yards up in front of the hikers. As soon as I see loose dogs, I stop, and just like a bear encounter or a mountain lion encounter in the backcountry, make yourself big, make yourself loud. First thing I start doing is I start calling for the hikers to get their dogs on a leash, because they're usually within earshot, but depending upon the dog, most dogs in the backcountry, they may get a little upset with the llamas because they've never seen llamas before. There's no llamas living next door to them in the backyard of the adjacent house in San Jose. So they look different, they sound different, and they smell different. So sometimes the dogs can get a little aggressive and or protective, because that's what dogs do. They're the protectors of the humans. So want to get the hikers up right away to get their dog under control. Occasionally, most hikers have their leashes with them, so it's not a problem. Sometimes they don't, so they've got to grab them by the collar. Sometimes people, they think that, okay, well, I've got my llama, or got my dog under control, so I'm gonna be 2 feet off of the trail, right where the llamas are going to pass by, and that's going to be okay. Well, for the human can comprehend that their dog is under control. The llama cannot comprehend that. All they see is maybe a dog that was giving them some bad vibes, some growling and body language that said they could be kind of aggressive. So what will happen as you walk by those people that are right off the side of the trail? The llama is gonna swing away. They want to protect their flanks. That's a common spot where the predators go for them, and so that's imprinted in their DNA. So as soon as you start crossing them, they are going to swing around so they can keep their back end as far away from that dog as possible. So what you have to do is make sure and ask the people that are right there on the side of the trail, that just tell them, oh, the llamas are afraid of dogs. Well, the llamas aren't really afraid of dogs. They've gone with my dogs for years. They're just afraid of dogs that are acting aggressive. So ask them to move from right off the trail to a good 30, 40 feet off of the trail. So usually that's not a problem. Occasionally, if it's a real steep trail on each side, sometimes you just have to improvise. And once in a while, I have to actually turn around and go back down the trail, find a big turnout place, whether it's for dogs or for stock. Not too often, but especially if it's a choice of me turning around with 2 or 3 or 7 llamas on the trail that's narrow and there's no place to cross when I meet horses and mules, is way, way easier for me to do that. It's almost impossible for the large stock to do that. So that's always an option that you have to do, you have to think of. Another thing that happens on the trail, every time you go out, this will happen on the trail, and that is your llama will have to go poop. They usually have a nice big belly full in the morning, and they get out and they hike an hour or two, maybe even 3 hours, and nature takes its course, and that food works its way through, and it has to come out. So the signs that it's potty time is usually the lead llama will start giving you a tug as you're got the rope, and he starts tugging a little bit. So what you want to do is just stop, turn around, and look. And the signs are, I wish I could get him to do this on cue, but he's not that well trained, is that they will start spreading their back legs, and then they'll start peeing and pooping. The pooping is done pretty quick, but the peeing process comes out as a very thin stream, so it takes a few minutes. It's not a quickie thing, and so occasionally llamas will do testing behavior, so they might be tugging on the rope, and maybe they don't have to go to the bathroom. Well, as soon as their head goes down, starts eating grass on the side of the trail, give them a yank and go on. That you do not want to let them to decide when to stop for a snack. You'll get nowhere fast. And llamas will act like they are starving most of the time, even though they have a belly full of food. Occasionally, they will give a tug on the rope, and as soon as you stop, you kind of turn around and you look at them. It's kind of the shy thing comes into play, and they won't go to the bathroom. So you can sit there for 15 minutes and nothing happens. So usually, if they have to go to the bathroom and then they're kind of shy about it, usually within a minute or two or less, they'll put the head down to eat grass. So probably what's going to happen is they're going to tell you this, that you're going to go through the same thing in another 15 or 20 minutes. Eventually they will go. Usually it's the first time, sometimes second. I have one llama that it just takes him forever to decide that it's okay to go to the bathroom, even though I know he has to go. Cut.
No.
No?
Do the dance.